technology, diversity, wine, the redwoods, and everything in between. Welcome to the Northern California Bay Area, and one show takes you inside the real estate that makes it all happen. This is By the Bay.
Hey everyone, and welcome back to By the Bay. I'm your host, Dan Ancheta, and thank you for being here and liking and subscribing on YouTube, Instagram, wherever else you might be listening to this, on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. Another amazing agent is here on the podcast this week. This is Christopher Oscar. Chris Oscar, thank you for being here. You're an agent with Engel Völkers.
Yes, I am.
And we met through Rob Tomasello.
That's right.
And Bianca Bruce. I mentioned her on a recent podcast because Haven O'Halloran was a recent guest. So
That's right.
thank you for being here. We've done a deal or two together, and wanted to have you on the show and hear your story and talk about what you do in real estate and outside of real estate and kind of get to know you better. So introduce yourself to the audience and tell us who you are.
Yeah, Christopher Oscar, Global Real Estate Advisor with Engel Völkers Real Estate. I'm also a Strategic Growth and Development Manager for the Sonoma shop.
Oh.
So I deal with recruiting and training and coaching. And so it's a pleasure to be on here, Dan. I really appreciate you having me.
Right on, man. It's really good to connect. And thanks for, you looped me into a deal that you did with Rob.
That's right.
And it was good because Rob and I work a bunch together. So it was great to connect with you there. So Engel Völkers is like a boutique real estate firm, right? It's global, but the presence here is kind of like fewer agents, but my observation is like more prolific agents. Is that a good analysis of that?
That's a good analysis.
Yeah.
Global, yet boutique, luxury. And the nice thing about it is in our shop, we have people who come by and they've just been in Amsterdam, or they've just been in Italy, or they've just been in France. And they say, hey, Engel Völkers, I was just over in Europe and I saw you guys. And that really, leads to where a lot of the clients come from that we work with. And people with disposable income that can go travel at the drop of a hat or have a house in Lake Como, and then they're here back in Sonoma, and then they're going to Napa and Marin. So that recognition of brand is why I came on board with Engel Völkers.
Nice.
Sure.
No, it's really cool. And you guys your shop is actually like in the plaza in Sonoma. And so you probably get a lot of walk-bys and people who are like, hey, I can, recognize that.
Yep.
So prior to being there, you were with another brokerage, also in Sonoma.
Yes.
So like making the move, which has been like what, 4.5 years or so.
That's exactly right. Yeah.
How has your business kind of evolved and changed since making that move?
I would say it's just gone up substantially, because of that luxury reach that we have now. So, and now I have clients that are even looking right now in Greece. I wasn't able to do that before, but now I can set them up with a referral with an advisor from one of our Athens offices. Something
that's crazy. I never so I've heard of interstate or like other areas. Like, hey, I don't go to the South Bay, right? Like that's too far to go to San Jose, but I have a client who wants to do something down there. Mm-hmm. Making a referral down to someone else there. But like you can go anywhere in the world. Anywhere in the world.
Yep, South Africa, Italy, France, Amsterdam, China, wherever. And that's why, I'm going to be going to, West Palm Beach. We're going to Miami in Florida.
Okay.
Coming up here the end of February, early March. And it'll be the global, everybody together.
Everyone's coming together.
Yeah.
So you can network with those people,
exactly.
Make some connections, and then like maybe you have to go look at some real estate in south of France or something like that.
Exactly.
It sounds like a good plan.
No, it's a real good plan. We just opened up an office shop in Portugal, which is really hot right now for Americans moving out to get.
I've heard of that. I'm again, this is maybe a little tangent here, but I've heard that like Portugal, if you're looking to like get into a country in the EU and like start like a process of getting dual citizenship or establishing yourself there, that Portugal is like one of the better ones.
Yes, exactly.
I don't know anything about that. There's something that someone told me one time.
It's beautiful, food's great, the views are great, and the costs are still good. So the price to get in there is really reasonable.
Nice. No, that's really, really interesting. So if you're looking at making a move internationally, you can reach out to Chris and his team, and they can connect you with a local expert in whatever market you might be searching in.
Definitely.
So your clients, you've been doing this for a long time, right? So your clients are a lot of repeat referral.
That's right.
And they are, so the trend right now, are you seeing a lot of migration like within the Bay Area, or is it like people in Sonoma upgrading a house and also in Sonoma, or is it like people from San Jose buying? And does it make sense? Like, what's the trend that you're seeing?
A little bit of all of it. So last couple townhomes I sold right off the square came from clients that were leaving Half Moon Bay. And it was interesting. They didn't know each other, but they just happened to be in the same month purchasing up here. So Half Moon Bay. And I said, what's going on? You know, they were retiring. They're ready to come to Sonoma. So Sonoma has a high level of people who want to retire in. It's just the ease of getting around. There's so many activities. The food scene, the wine scene, you know, of course. And so what we're looking at is you have that is a heavy client base. And then the other would be the move up, right? So people have already bought a house and now they've maybe had another kid and they need some more room. And so they're growing out of the space that they were in, or they want to, you know, have a house that they can put in like an ADU because maybe their parents are getting to an age where they're going to want to have them living with them, something like that.
Yeah.
So we're seeing all of that.
Yeah, the multi-generational solution, we've talked a lot on the show. We've had some like ADU experts come on and educate us about it. I do think it is, with like limited housing stock growth, creative solutions is going to be what's going to help us, like with the number of housing units that we need, just to sustain, you know, the demand. So it'd be really interesting to see how, as those rules are changing and land use is kind of looked at differently, that we might be more accepting of a small, you know, ADU in someone's backyard that otherwise, you know, when I think of ADU, I think you need to have a lot of acreage. You can have a bunch of land, but it's like, it doesn't really have to be that.
No,
it can
really
be
doesn't.
like a really small piece of land that you can figure out a way to, you know, have a separate space.
Yeah, make those setbacks work. And the fact, right before I came here, I was meeting with a new client, and that was exactly what she was talking about. Give me a nice bungalow, nice cottage somewhere around the square, but I want 7,000 square feet or 8,000 square feet. I want to have a space where I can get an ADU on there for eventually for her mother to come out from Long Island, you know. And it was great. I'm like, let's get to work, you know.
Yeah.
It's fabulous.
Yeah, I think that land use, you know, is really important. You know, in Petaluma, we have an urban growth boundary. We can't just keep building out further and further, right? And so if there's lots of people who want to live here, you have to do something to house them. And people don't want, you know, skyscrapers and, you know, 20-story apartment buildings, whatever. So you have to be smart with the land. And I drive through some of the older neighborhoods and I'm like, oh man, there's so many lots that are that what you're saying. It's that kind of narrow 7,000 square foot. And you can build a little, you know, walkway or a small driveway to access something, and like a garage with a granny unit above it or something like that. It's really, really smart land use, and
For sure.
yeah, interesting trend that I think we all need to pay attention to.
Oh,
right?
no doubt about it.
And eventually I think there'll be some financing. There are some, but there needs to be more financing tools available so that you can use like a projected value for that construction, as opposed to like you need the equity in the house already to be able to withdraw the cash. Because the cost is definitely, you know, a hurdle for lots of people. They don't have
like
$400,000 laying around.
Yeah,
So-
no, I like that. That's where you come in.
Yeah, exactly. So interesting. So trends, we're here in like early January. I keep hearing about lots of inventory that's expected to come online, you know, kind of like after the Super Bowl. I keep hearing that over and over again. Is that rumor? Is that true? What's your,
Yeah,
okay.
right now we got about 72 homes for sale. That's residential.
Okay.
And then about 10 to 12 duplexes, you know, income units. So I think that you're right. I think because we're just going to be starting up back at our MLS meeting that we go to on Thursday mornings over at the community center in Sonoma, 8:30 in the morning.
So that's like all the realtors get together, and then there's like lenders and title people and home inspectors and that sort of thing.
Totally.
Right.
And we do the tour.
And you go on tour and you see what's available or what's coming on the market, you know, this weekend.
Exactly.
Right.
And then it's really important to go to these, you know, because then you hear the coming soons.
Right.
And one of the transactions I closed, a month and a half ago over on Robinson Road in Sonoma came right from that meeting. A real estate agent got up. We passed through all who's going to be open on the tour today? Now, coming soons. And he said, you know, I've got this 3-bed, 2-bath over by the bike path. And I said, well, I got a client who's been really looking for a while to get some connected. We were able to get that in escrow and get it, you know, into contract before even the open houses for that property. So you got to pay attention and listen to that, because that's what it's going to take, you know, getting there and hearing about off-market properties that are coming.
Yeah.
I think that's a huge piece of this game.
Yeah, we try to play that on our side because we have a lot of move-up people, right? And they're like, hey, but we need to sell our old house. It's like, okay, well, who can I play matchmaker to? Like, who would be a great buyer for your house? We've done it a few times in the last few months, and we've chained together 2 or 3 of them, which is really nice because then it's like solving lots of problems. We could do all the loans.
Yeah.
And the agents are happy because they're like, hey, we've been searching for the right house for these people for potentially months or longer. And it's like, okay, great. Now we've got, you know, kind of a really candid audience here, and we can go in and negotiate and try to figure it out.
That's all it's about, the negotiation, your stronger offer. Because, you know, we do sell them. We've done 2-3 of them in the past 6 months where it's a contingent offer. And before, you know, remember back in 2020, 2021, if you were trying to do a contingent offer, it was like, nah, this other offer is going to beat you.
Yeah, exactly.
Quick.
Yeah. So for the audience, so the contingent offer means that you're asking the seller to accept your offer, and as part of that offer, you have to sell your current home, either simultaneously or prior to closing on the home that they're selling. Right.
Exactly.
So it may be a less desirable offer to accept if you need to be moved out and into your new home, or if you're relocating or whatever. Because sometimes that might take more time, and you don't know the desirability of the buyer's exiting residence.
Exactly.
Right. So you're kind of playing this game, but if they're the best offer or the only offer,
True.
then sometimes it's kind of like, well, let's see what happens.
We're doing them now.
Yeah. It's nice that there's more balance in the market. I'm not sure if you're feeling it, but it feels like there's more balance in the market where you can have an FHA buyer get an offer accepted.
Yep.
You can have a contingent offer be accepted. Not everything has to be closing in 12 days with no contingencies. You have a little bit more time to like breathe and like look around and like make sure this is the right spot for you.
100%.
Right. And overall, that's a better experience for the buyer and really for the seller.
Oh, definitely. Yeah. In the long run, that's the way to go, because then they've really got a chance to go through the different neighborhoods and really zero in, right? Because we always talk about with my buyers, you know, location first. Where do you feel most comfortable? Where do you want to live? Now from there, now let's zero it down. What do you need? Single story, 2-story? Do you need a 3-bed, 2-bed? What are we looking at? How much space? Do you want a pool, no pool? You know, so you can really get that whole thing. That can really dial in that vision. You know,
Yeah.
I'm big on that.
It's like starting at the top of the funnel and just like adding a filter. Okay. And then there's like fewer and fewer houses that meet the criteria. And then you know that you need to be aggressive when you're making an offer on those, because maybe there's 3 of them total.
Right.
And like, you got to go.
You got to go.
Yeah.
You got to be ready. You got to be ready. And getting some of those coming from that MLS meeting where I'm hearing about the coming soon, that's a big piece. Get out there, drive by this place. It's going to be on next week. Let me see if I can get you in before it goes live.
Yeah.
You know, that kind of thing helps out a lot.
Yeah, for sure. I think like the sales cycle slowing down a little bit, you know, we all want to go fast, right?
Yeah.
But I think there is it's definitely something to it that has like better end results and happier clients in the end, because like they can visit the house more than once, right? They can go there on Saturday and see what the neighborhood's like. Because a lot of times you're touring houses, it's like Tuesday morning, no one's home. We don't know what the neighbors are like. You know, we don't know what, but go there on Saturday. Go there Saturday at 7:00 and just like walk around the neighborhood and make sure this is where you want to be, right? Before, again, this is like going back some time, we were just seeing such crazy, you know, aggressive offers, which was necessary to win. But man, I can only imagine that there's a lot of folks who wound up buying and going through that process. They're like, if I had more time, I maybe would have made a different decision, you know? Is that your experience?
Oh, yeah. You know, the thing that they'll look back on and they'll still say, well, I made some money off of this too. So it's like, it's that, you know, especially in areas like we are, like Sonoma, Petaluma, you know, these areas, you know, this is where people want to live.
Yeah.
And I mean, it just continues, right? Retiring or vacationing. We got the best of all worlds. I think we're on the mark, you know, with the whole food industry, the wine and the entertainment. And even, I mean, Sonoma has so much stuff for retired people, like Vintage House, Community Center. Community Center must have had 6 different things going on over the weekend. You know, I was at this meditation vision board class. It was packed. It was fantastic. You know, and across the hall, there was some other thing where they were doing some kind of origami, or I don't know what it was, some kind of art thing. And I'm looking around. I'm like, you know, we got everything for everybody over here. Yeah. Dog parks, right?
It's great. It's a great community,
Yeah.
you know, very walkable, very, you know, and very community oriented. And it's, even though it's a pretty big town, it's a very small town, right? There's like, you run into the same people, you know, you kind of find your groove.
Yep.
I frequent, you know, go to see clients and friends in Sonoma, and like I'll sit in like the Pete's Coffee there, you know, and there's like the same people over and over and over again. Yeah, always packed.
Always packed.
Yeah, for sure. So you have other interests besides real estate, right? So yeah. So what do you do besides sell a bunch of houses?
Well, I'm president of the Sonoma Valley Executives Group, which is like a leads group, you know, so I like that. And I joined it in the beginning just because I want to contribute to other people's success. I'm that kind of person. You know, I'm not just look out for me and me and this. I'm like, how can I help you succeed? What can I do for you? And so I really got into that. Now I'm president of it. We meet every Thursday morning, and I'm having a great time.
Is this a BNI group?
Similar. We
Similar.
don't use that name, but yes, it's that same kind of structure.
Similar to BNI, but not BNI.
Everybody goes around. It's kind of like a Toastmasters in the beginning because everyone gets up and does a 30-second promotion. And then from there, we have leads exchanging. And then we wrap it up with one of the members gets up and does a 15-minute presentation.
That sounds like exactly like a BNI.
It really does.
So not BNI. No trademark there, but
no trademark.
Yes. I'm in a BNI group.
There you go.
And it's a lot of fun. Like I've gotten some business out of it, but I've met a bunch of really great people.
Right on.
And been able to help a lot of folks too. So it's nice making connections in the community and like spheres that I may not have otherwise connected with.
True.
Right. And that's a really fun,
win-win.
rewarding experience.
Rewarding. That's what I was just going to go with because, it's a win-win. So I'm here contributing to others. And like I said, I just came from a meeting with a new client, which came from one of the people from the business group, referred them to me. Right. So it's like I'm getting clients as well. So then I also do some nonprofit stuff. I'm on the board of directors for the Media Freedom Foundation, which is the part where the Project Censored, the class from Sonoma State University comes from.
Yeah. So tell us about that because this is really interesting.
Awesome. Yeah, I just love it. I found out about Project Censored, the class from Sonoma State, back in 2001. I was getting an Ayurvedic astrology reading from Betty Tim. I just moved to California. I'm originally from Jersey. I don't know if you caught that part.
I did. Yes, I caught that.
So I moved down here in 1996. And I don't know what it was. I think maybe I met a girl and I was like, let me go to this. I was getting a massage at this astrology place. And the woman who owns it runs this Vedic astrology thing. And so I went over there and I said, do you work here? What are you doing? And she said, oh, no, I own this. And then she said, I do Vedic astrology readings. And I said, oh, what's that? I never heard of that. But I said, I'm curious. I'm into this. I'm Sagittarius. I'm like a little bit into the philosophy of stuff.
Sure.
She told me. I said, I'll try it. So I went and she started talking to me. And man, it blew my mind. Like she was just like, you're going to make a lot of money in real estate. And at the time, I was doing real estate advertising sales for the local paper. I wasn't real estate.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
So your background's like ad sales?
Yeah, I was a journalism major, actually.
Oh, fascinating.
In Long Island University.
Okay.
And then from that, it led to a career in advertising for newspapers and magazines. And then it became internet, online, and all that. But at the same time, I was starting to buy houses. So I was buying my own couple condominiums here and there, renting them out, becoming a landlord. And I said, you know what? I got to this point where I was like, I want to teach people how to do this so they can stop paying rent and start paying themselves, right? Because that mortgage check, when you're writing it, it's really going in your back pocket because you're pulling down the principal, So I said, I could teach people how to do this. And that was my motivation. I want others to be able to have what I think is the way to financial freedom. It's through real estate ownership, So that was kind of my niche. But honestly, I didn't know I was going to be really doing that. And I was at this astrology reading, and Betty says, there's something in your chart. You're going to do really well in real estate. And I was like, real estate? Oh, I like real estate, And that was it for me. I started going. She said, I'm going to have a couple kids. I ended up having a couple kids, And then she says, you ever heard of Project Censored? Because there's something in your chart that speaks to social justice, truth-seeking, fighting for the rights of others. I was taken back. I was like, whoa, what's going on here? Like, that's what I did when I was a journalism major at my college newspaper in Long Island. I was always fighting for the students' rights. And so I said, what is this Project Censored? She told me about it. I went out, bought one of their books that year because they put out a book every year. Started reading the stories. They list the top 25 stories that were censored from corporate-owned media that would really have the most impact on working-class people. And I fell in love with it. So
wow.
That would be my Christmas present, actually, every year for all my family. Be a bottle of wine from Sonoma, some cheese from the cheese factory, some jerky from Angelo's, Angelo's jerky plate.
Yeah, totally.
And he has a place in Petaluma and also in Sonoma. And then chocolate from the Chocolate Cow, obviously, best chocolate. And then I would go ahead and put the new book in there. So I'm like, here's some wine, here's some snacks, here's some chocolate.
So something for you to do while you're reading the book.
There you go.
That's super interesting. So I went to Sonoma State. My undergrad's from Sonoma State and my graduate degree is from SSU as well. And so I knew about Project Censored then. And then another realtor, Doug Hecker,
yes.
We can name drop Doug on the show.
What's up, Doug?
So he got super involved in that. And then you guys wound up doing a movie together?
Yeah, that's right.
Okay, so tell us about that. This is really cool.
Yeah, very cool. Again, from what Betty had said about Project Censored, I was instantly interested, started buying the books, was talking to my family a lot about it. They were like, are you going to go take the class? And I'm like, how am I going to take the class? I got mortgages. I'm working. I don't think I have time to go to school right now. And then they're like, maybe you'll be an intern or you do a teaching assistant thing. And I'm like, I don't know what it is yet, but I know it's going to come to me. And I know that this thing is something I'm supposed to be connected to, you know? And then I would say it was maybe 2006, early 2007. And it was like just a brain dump, boom, an insight. And it just came like fire. And it said, you're going to take Project Censored, turn it into a documentary film, and premiere at the Sonoma International Film Festival. And I mean, I saw it clear as day. It was insane. I mean, I could see up on stage, full house. And I just said, okay, I know how this stuff works now, because I was studying a lot about law of attraction, The Secret, and all that. And I said, when you have an insight, you set an intention, and then you let the universe bring it to you, right? So I said, all right, let me try it. Had the insight, and I set an intention. Find somebody connected to the class so that together we could pitch this idea to make it into a film to the director of the project. Boom, sent it out to the universe, went to the Thursday real estate tour like I do. At that time, it was over at the Vintage House, not at the community center.
Okay.
I go in, I get the tour sheet, I walk around, and what I would do as an advertising sales rep, and I represented the real estate section, the whole newspaper part of that, I would give agents that had a new listing on tour a certificate. And I'd just say, hey, congratulations on your new listing. Here's a certificate for 50% off of an ad to run for the first 2 weeks, whatever. Well, I knew everybody, you know, so I would kind of just have the piece of paper and go to door, hey, hey Herb, hey Dan, hey. Well, in this case, I was like, who's this guy? You know, I was about to go up to this house on Newcomb Street, and it was Doug Hecker, Frank Howard Allen, Petaluma. I said, well, I don't know him, he doesn't know me, so I better get all my stuff. So I had my newspaper,
Okay.
right? I had the media kit.
You're all geared up, ready to go pitch him, make a sale, make it happen.
I walk in, I say, Christopher Oscar, Sonoma Index Tribune, real estate advertising. And he says, Doug Hecker, Frank Howard Allen, Petaluma. And he goes, hey, you guys used to print my paper. And I'm kind of looking around, I'm thinking, print your paper? I don't understand, you know, you're selling a house. He goes, I go, what do you mean, your paper? He goes, oh, I was the editor of the Sonoma Star. That's the newspaper from Sonoma State University. And I said, Sonoma State University? Have you ever heard of a class called Project Censored? And he says, heard of it. I took the class. I'm published in the 1996 book. And I just said, like, with conviction, I said, well, I'm taking Project Censored. I'm going to turn it into a documentary film. I'm going to premiere it right here at the Sonoma International Film Festival. He goes, that's a great idea. He's like, I was journalism with film. I go, I was journalism with film. Boom. I couldn't even go to another house on tour that day. I had this little Mini Cooper convertible. I was just driving around like, did that just happen?
That was crazy.
That was crazy. I'm pinching myself. What the heck was that? I went to this coffee shop. Don't even really drink coffee. I'm just sitting there staring at this mocha. I'm like, man, I just want to call this dude right now. And all of a sudden, phone rings and it's him. Hey, it's me. I just closed up my open house. Let's meet Wednesday. I'm like, let's go. We'll go to Saddle's Restaurant, which is inside the MacArthur Place over on East MacArthur. I said, Wednesday, 6 o'clock, done. So we sit there, we're meeting, and he says, you know what we need to do? We need to pitch this idea to the director of the class. He said, basically,
what a great idea.
I said, what a great idea. I said, that's why you're here, man. That's why you're here. And did it. He used the connection was Peter Phillips was still the director. It was incredible how it all just played out. Everyone we asked to be in the film, yes. Noam Chomsky, yes. Howard Zinn, yes. I mean, it was just one after the other. Dan Rather, Phil Donahue. It was like, what's happening right now?
So give us so if people aren't familiar, they should look it up. They should just do a quick Google search and dig into it. But give us like the synopsis of what it is and why it's important.
No problem. Sure. So it's really nice because it's like stories that are investigated by the students of the class and then are vetted by all these professors. So right away, you've got like real background checks. You know, they got to do some real follow through, and they present their stories to the professors of the class, and they could be in any area. It could be in political science, they could be in sociology, they could be in investigative journalism. So the classes that the Project Censored ends up in, because it's not just Sonoma State anymore, it's in multiple different, it's San Francisco, you know, everywhere. And so they take these stories and they bring them to the professor and they say, this story, and the professor will say, okay, I need you to keep an eye on it. If that story, does it make it into the media? You know, and what we're trying to do is just create a book of the stories that have the most importance to working class people that don't make it out to the corporate media. So that's kind of how it goes. And then they put out a book every year. And the book has even a whole section in there about junk food news stories. And, you know, that's the Angelina Jolie and Brad Pitt, you know, blah, blah, back in the day, you know, and that would be the headline, you know. And I remember even one time I was watching a Democracy Now! Had put out something on their channel where they were saying, you know, an NSA whistleblower was going to be coming out and risking his whole career. I mean, they were going to lock him up too, but he was going to tell the truth about why we were invading a certain country or why we were doing this. And I'm like, man, this is the biggest story going, right? And so one of my tenants was going to be picking me up, taking me to lunch that day. He comes by and picks me up, and I'm just still like, holy shit, this story that just broke, right? So we get in the car, and he's like, "How you doing?" I'm like, "Man, can you believe what's going on? Have you seen?" He goes, "Yeah, I can't believe it." And I'm thinking we're talking about the same thing, right?
Yeah.
I go, "Yeah, this is just wild." And he goes, "Yeah, who knew that Arnold Schwarzenegger had a love child?" And I went, "What'd you just say?" He says, "Arnold Schwarzenegger, he's got a love child." So I said, "Is that what's all over the news right now?" He says, "Yeah." And I went, "Oh, man." And I just,
oh, man.
that's it in a nutshell, right?
So the idea is that there's really pressing, important news to average working class people,
Yep.
right? That is actually happening.
Actually happening.
And we don't see it.
That's right.
Because we're fed stories about Arnold Schwarzenegger or
Exactly.
Taylor Swift or whatever it is.
Totally.
Right?
100%.
So like this is kind of this has been going on. This class originated like in the early 90s, right?
Well, actually,
No,
you know what?
70s.
70s.
Yes, right.
They're celebrating their 50th anniversary
Right.
this year, 2026.
Right.
Right now, they're celebrating it. So it's 50 years. 1976 is when it started.
Okay.
Carl Jones.
So this is not a new phenomenon. This has been happening for a long time. But the way it looks now is like the clickbait stuff and the stuff that winds up on your headlines is like maybe not the most important news of the day. It's the most sensational. It's the thing that's going to get people's attention while all this other stuff is happening in the background.
Exactly.
So Project Censored's job or the purpose is to highlight those stories that didn't get promoted, didn't get pushed out to the mass population that really do impact everyday lives.
Oh, totally. And
That's
Mickey Huff is the current, sorry, I didn't interrupt you. He's the current director right now, Mickey Huff. And he even put out a book called like Agree to Disagree. And his whole intro in the new book that just came out this year is all about how like the media now is using all different channels to try to get us kind of to be divided against each other. And I actually talked about that when we made the film. So the film basically with Doug, when I met him, it was just instant. We made it. And it took us like 6 years because here we are. He's a dad. I'm a dad. He's coaching his kids. I'm coaching my kids. That kind of stuff. Selling real estate.
Yep.
Got full-time jobs, everything going on. So we would just carve out a day, Monday, and we rented an office. And every day we'd say, okay, we're shutting everything else down. We're just going to work on it. So it took us like 6 years. But over that 6 years, we interviewed over 35 different people. We've got hours of interviews, incredible stuff. And presented it to the director at the Sonoma International Film Festival. And he watched it, and he watched our cut. And he just said, this is going to be our headline film for the Friday night at the film festival. Done. And that was 2013.
Amazing.
It was absolutely amazing. And it sold out crowd. They had to turn away 100 people because it was so big. And since I had a lot of connections in town from advertising, newspaper, real estate, I was able to go around to all the businesses and put up posters. So you walked through that weekend, and it was like posters of Doug and I everywhere. It was like the film to see. And it delivered. It was a home run.
So the reception was, so this came out in 2013, but news stories from like 2007 to 2013. Is that the timeline or so?
Yep.
And so the reception was great. And what's happened subsequently to that? So you're on the board, and the movement continues.
Movement continues. I have a lot of people asking me like, "What are you doing next? We need more of that. When can I see it? How can I see it? Can we show it here? Can we show it there?" So we're still actively out there saying, because it's timeless. I mean, some of the stories that are in there, the Tiger Woods thing was a big story at the time, and that's not really, but they get it.
No, it's interesting though, because it was pre like the fake news movement, right?
Yeah.
So like it's actually like a precursor to all the stuff that we're experiencing now with like media being used to divide instead of unite. And well, if you say something that I don't like, then it's just a hoax and it's not real, and you're just lying because you're trying to make me look bad. And like the movement started obviously a long time, but the film is just kind of right before all of that stuff kind of kicks off
100%.
in our society.
Yep.
Very, very interesting. I had to revisit it. I did watch it some years ago.
Nice.
And I need to revisit. Is it available? Where can you watch it?
Yeah, what we did is, all of a sudden when COVID hit, and I noticed, okay, everybody's watching Tiger King. Everyone's locked in their house, right?
Tiger King.
Everyone's watching.
I haven't thought of that for a while, but
Remember
yes,
that?
I do remember.
All over, everyone you talk to. Oh, did you see that? You see that? Yeah. And I thought, okay. And we had ours out there, in different various sites for sale that you could rent it and pay. And I thought, well, at this point, everyone's home. What are we doing? Let's just get it out there. So Doug and I talked, and we just went ahead and released it and put it up on YouTube so people could just watch it for free, the whole movie, not just clips, not just the trailer. And so that's where you can go look for right now.
Okay, cool. So you can go to YouTube, find it there.
Yep.
And go check out the website. I mean, just Google Project Censored. Yep. I'm sure it'll direct you to the Wikipedia page and all the other stuff, and you can go check it out. That's awesome. So, what a cool like side interest where you're taking, your passion for journalism and film, right, that you went to school for, and then like turning that into like a real amazing project, right? And at the same time selling a bunch of real estate and being involved in the community.
100%.
Yeah. Cool. So, I mean, besides those things, what else? You have young kids, older kids now.
Yeah, 18
college
and 21.
College age.
Yep. My son is at Northwestern. He's a junior, studying biomedical engineering, and now he's doing a focus. His major is mechanical engineering with biomedical engineering. So he's in it, and he's loving it. I had never experienced Chicago until I have a son going to Northwestern, and I go to Evanston and visit him, and we're going into Chicago, and I'm like, this place is awesome. Chicago is fantastic. People were great. Food's off the charts. Incredible. So he's loving it. He's in his own apartment now with a couple of his buddies and living life. My daughter, and that whole Northwestern, it's like right on Lake Michigan.
Okay, yeah.
What a setting.
Yeah.
And when I went to go look at it with him, I'm like, wait a minute. I'm in Chicago, and these people are playing beach volleyball? Like, it just never
That's
occurred
so funny.
to me.
I've actually never been to Chicago.
Oh,
It's one of those cities that I'd like want to go to.
Yeah.
But I've been lots of other places, but that's not one of them. So I'll have to go check it out. It's like that you're the second or third person in the last couple of weeks who's told me that. I had another buddy who went there and like just absolutely loved it and just enjoyed every minute of it. And it was like, it's one of the best cities that people just like don't,
awesome.
Doesn't come up on that list of top places to go, but I'll have to get out there.
I was surprised. I was shocked.
Yeah.
I was ready because, originally from Jersey, going to school in Long Island, New York, I'm ready. Walking down the street of Chicago, all right, let's go. And all of a sudden the people walking by, they're like, hello. And I'm like, what the hell was that?
And where am I?
They just said hello to me. Then my son's like, Dad, we're in the Midwest. People are super chill here. They're friendly. I was like, oh, so it's like a city with friendly people. I mean, it blew my mind.
It's a novel concept for us now.
Then my daughter, she's at Brown. So she's a freshman over there, absolutely loving it. Can't wait to get back to her classes. She's already got it all lined up, who her teachers are. And, there was some stuff that happened there in December, and luckily she wasn't in that room. We feel really sad for all the people that got affected. It was crazy. I hopped on a plane, flew out there and got her.
We were texting at that time, and I can only imagine as a father of three, like I would have done the same thing, would have been there in 2 seconds as fast as I could because can't even imagine what that must have felt like.
But luckily it hasn't, changed her love for the school, the people. She said, in fact, it brought her closer to a lot of people because everybody was so much love and so much support, and she got together with people. She went down to the cafeteria at one point, like, I need to get something to eat. They finally let us out of the room. How's it going to be? And instead, everyone was just embracing and hugging, and it was amazing. It's
interesting, like a bit of a tangent here, but it's interesting that when tragedy and terrible things happen, we all rally together and we're there to help each other and hold each other and be with one another. And I just wish there was a way for us to do that all the time without there having to be some awful thing that happens in the world, I agree. Because I think that's our nature in general is to be that way. But for some reason, we don't feel like we need to or have to or want to express that to other people, right? Like, when something terrible happens, the first thing you want to do is like call the person that happened to and like tell them that you love them.
Yep.
It's like, why didn't you say that before the bad thing happened? That's how you feel. Just be that way all the time.
That's our human nature, connection, helping others. And I think that's where it goes back to the film and the idea of the media and what they're doing with us is really to divide us. I mean, just, and that makes it really hard. All of a sudden you got some families aren't even talking because of their political division, right?
Oh, I mean, for sure. I mean, absolutely. It's happening more and more and more.
Totally. The algorithms. It's like, I'm only seeing this because I clicked on that. They're only seeing this.
And I see stuff that I don't agree with, so I just get more angry at those people. And then I'm like, I never want to talk to that, And then I catch myself. I'm like, well, okay, hold on. Take a deep breath. Yeah. And there are definitely some terrible, awful people that they're showing their true colors. I'm like, I never want to talk to that person ever again. But in general, I think that most people fall within, a pretty narrow band of being relatively reasonable.
I agree.
But we let the people on the far, far left, far, far right, kind of make us all fight each other.
100%.
And if we just, let's just be kind. Anyway.
Yeah, well, that's back to that book that Mickey Huff put out
Yeah.
with Nolan Higdon, and it's called Agree to Disagree. And they teach it in classes, which is great because they're professors, right? They teach, and they're studying all this.
Yeah,
they're watching it.
Well, I think we've like lost the art of debate in a way,
right?
We can't like have a conversation like, I feel like my belief is one thing, yours is something that's contrary to that. Let's have a discussion and see where we do have common ground. It turns into you're wrong and you're an idiot and you don't know, and it's like, dude, why?
Yeah.
Like what is the point of anyway?
No, I'm with you, 1,000,000%.
Yeah, but it's one of those things where social media is essential to my business, right? Because it's how I connect with lots of clients and they stay informed of what's going on with me and I stay informed of what's going on with them. But I just have a policy not to look at the comments. Just don't click on the comments. Stay away from it.
Good.
It does no good.
Yep.
But
I
anyway.
think I'd be the same way. I'm working on some stuff where I'm taking a lot of the times where I had like an insight, like the one with Doug, where I met him and set an intention and then it manifested. And I started journaling all these. Like, wait a minute. I've had it for this. I had it for this. I had this children's song that got picked up and is on a children's album, right? I mean,
but you wrote a children's song?
I wrote a freaking children's song, dude. And it was like, I didn't set out to write one. I didn't say, I'm going to wake up today and write a children's song. No, it was me. I was hanging out with my kids. My daughter was maybe a little less than 2 at the time. My son, maybe 5, maybe a little less. And it was actually, she needed a pamper change. And I basically was like, okay, go over here. I'm going to change. And all of a sudden I went to the wipey box. You remember when the kids were little?
Yep.
Boom, only one in there. I'm like, oh, Jesus. So I said to my son, hey, grab that other box quick before she starts squirming around here. And I was like, okay, she's starting to squirm around. He's not getting that wipey box. So I just grabbed, we were in the kids' playroom. I pulled out a picture that he had drawn, and I looked at it. It was a picture of a rainbow. I held it up, and I said, hey, honey, look at the picture of the rainbow. Look at all the colors of the rainbow, all the colors of the rainbow, all the colors of the rainbow. That's how I know that you love me. So fucking just, I don't know where it came from. And I'm just like, what was that? She's frozen. Like, what? My son's holding the wipey box. Like, what? And I'm like, fix up, clean up, wash up.
Go write that down real fast.
We went to the piano because they were, he was taking piano lessons.
Oh,
we
nice.
went to the piano. I said, okay, you got that? You still got that rhythm? Let's go. Da-da-da. Okay, da-da-da. We started adding to it, started recording them, all singing it. Hold this thing, talking to Doug, right? We're working on the movie at that time. And I'm like, man, this song came to me. Listen to this. And I'm telling him, he's like, dude, that's good. I go, I know. You know anyone in the music industry? Hey, everyone I talk to.
Yeah.
Anyone I meet with a client, go get a cup of coffee, going to look at a house. What do you do, by the way? Are you involved in the music industry? I'm thinking, I'm gonna run into this.
You're like,
person.
I manifested this. Who is it? I'm scanning the crowd. Yeah. Which one of you?
Yeah, exactly.
And you found it.
Well, I was scrolling on Facebook one day, just doing normal, happy birthday, everybody, whatever, looking at what's out there, and I saw this thing. Her name is Sonatam Kaur, and my kids and I had gone to her from like some yoga class, and she does music. She had a children's album out and everything, and meditation stuff, whatever. And I'm looking at it, and she's like, calling all people, we're putting together our second children's album. If from age 2 to 200, submit us your song. And I went, boom. I mean, that thing was glowing to me. Wow. So I took everything. I took some of the recordings I had from when the kids were little, because now this is 2011. Take that. I took the whole story. I wrote it up, and I sent it in. About a month later, I get an email. Tune in on this day at this time because you're one of the finalists. And I'm like, what? And I mean, the thing is, I sit down, I pull it up on the computer to tune into this radio station to listen to it, and they go over it. And then she's talking about the third place winner, the second place winner. And I'm thinking, all right, that's it. I don't know what's going on.
Good for them. All right.
Good for them.
Yeah.
It's over, It was nice that they told me to tune in. And all of a sudden, they're like, and now our grand prize winner, Christopher Oscar from Sonoma, California. And she goes, before I get into this, I just got to tell you this story.
Listen to this story.
She tells the story. I'm blown away. I'm like, oh my gosh, she's telling my story right now. And it was grand prize on her album with royalties. Like, okay, that's a dream of mine forever. Yes. Kids got to go to this camp in like New Mexico for 2 weeks. Got her whole collection of all of her music, everything. It was like, what is going on right now? But there it is. It was just channeled something. So I started journaling anytime stuff like that happened. So all the colors of the rainbow song, which you can get on Spotify, by the way. Okay.
I'll check it out.
Check it out. Yeah. And then the Project Censored, the movies. I started writing all these down. So I started creating this. And I'm like, damn, this is a pretty good list. So I've kind of wrote up a little book. It's called From Insight to Oscar, a story of manifestation and fulfillment. And it's like a little kind of like a pocket guide I'll probably do. I'm going to get this thing published this year. That's like my goal this year.
Did you manifested that already?
Yeah, well, I've got it all written.
Okay.
It's looking good, and now it's just a matter of, well, I think I manifested the publisher.
Okay.
So it's going to be one of those things where I want to inspire people to listen, when you have an insight, right? Set that intention around what you want. Just be clear, set an intention, let it go. And then my piece that I'm bringing to the table with all of this, because there's a lot of guru book writers and everything out there, and The Secret, Rhonda Byrne and all that, and they're all great. The piece I'm bringing to it is the way things manifest are stuff you wouldn't even imagine. I was going to sell an advertisement to Doug Hecker at a house on Newcomb Street. I wasn't talking about Project Censored, the movie. And then, bam. So it's paying attention.
Yeah.
Paying attention.
It's really interesting. I'm sitting here thinking about situations where like things like that have happened in my life. And it's like, okay, it's because I was curious.
Right.
It's because I stopped and I didn't make an assumption and I asked a question and I let someone else talk. Yeah. Right. Yeah. And like when you listen, pause and listen, and you're curious about other people, like it's amazing who you will meet and find in the world. And just like not being afraid to strike up a conversation with some stranger at a coffee shop. Yep. Or, who you're standing in line with, whatever. I've met such interesting people in my life randomly. Yep. And then like, don't be afraid to like call them up, pick up the phone and be like, I'm that random dude you met. And I thought that was really cool that we talked about X, Y, or Z. And like, you just never know who that person might wind up being in your life at some point.
That's right.
But if you're open, I think there's people who are like, that's not real. I don't believe in that. It's like, okay, well then you're closed off, right? Then you're not asking curious questions. You're not putting yourself out there. You're not building a community. You're thinking that you know all the answers, and that's totally fine. Just don't be shocked if you start with some curiosity and have an open mind that like random crazy things will happen.
No doubt about that. It's paying attention and slowing down. Like you just said, like listening. I mean, because I could have just been on this mission of I've got 7 more houses to go see to sell ads to. And when Doug said the thing about Project Censored, when he said...
You spent my newspaper. Oh, really? Cool. And then walked out the door.
Exactly.
And then none of that happens.
Exactly.
Right.
But I was in
but
that
you're curious.
Space. I was curious. Yeah. I like the way you put it that way. I was curious. I was in that awareness space, willing to receive. And when he said that, I immediately went, wait a minute.
Yeah.
It's no mistake.
It's interesting, like, I also think curiosity is a great sales skill, right?
Oh, yeah, you
like,
gotta listen.
I want to, on my sales calls, I'm very quiet, try to be as much as possible because I'm kind of a talker, but try to be quiet as much as possible and listen to what the other people have to say and then add value and then just like ask another engaging question that leads them down another path, because it's really about them on the sales side, really about them feeling good and like leaving them with an impression like that person really cared about what I had to say.
That's true.
So yeah, curiosity is where it's at.
Well, and you're helping them to create the vision of what they want, right? Because I do that exact same thing you're saying when it comes to meeting a client to buy a house. I say, okay, talk to me. What are we talking about here? 2-story or 1-story? I want them to visualize. Right. Because the more somebody can visualize, and if I'm visualizing it with them together, that's when the house manifests even faster.
Yeah, for sure.
And the transaction is smooth.
Yep.
And it's all bliss, right?
We call it like the dreams and goals conversation. Mm-hmm. Like, tell me what your dreams are, tell me what your goals are. Yep. Let me help you. Like one of those, first of all, synthesize those, because lots of people don't know what their dreams and goals are. Yep. They have concepts of it, but they haven't like documented it. So let's write those things down. Yep. And then, okay, what is your job? What is my job? How do we help you? How do we put you in a position to be successful? And like just all kind of tying in. And then like you are aware of these dreams and goals and aspirations. So then when you're at that Thursday morning meeting, you're listening and you're like, that's the one. Boom, done and done.
I'll be sending a text that says, I found your dream home.
Right.
Meet me at XYZ, whatever. And they'll walk in. And that's the moments I absolutely love. When they come to the house and they take a step in front of that door, and they walk in, they just look around. And, if it's a couple or something, they look at each other and they're just like, this is it. And I'm like, I told you I'd find it.
Yep.
But it helped that you were the clear one about it.
Yeah, for sure.
You painted the picture of what it was. And then I kept them open. It's
really interesting, like the logic, like some people do with their logical brain, other people like with their, I'm going to use the wrong term, but I believe it's called the limbic brain, right? It's like the part of your brain that doesn't have a voice, right? And like that gives you like gut feeling.
Yeah.
Right. And so when we bought our most recent house, my wife walked in, the first house we looked at, she walked in and she was like, all right, this is the one. And I'm like, dude, we haven't been upstairs yet. And she's like, I just know. I already know this is the one. I feel it. I know it. I just know that this is the right house. 100%. It's like 5 offers. We weren't the best one. They took ours.
Amazing.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
It's like,
I love it.
the ideal, it's the ideal home. It feels like home. It's a wonderful, wonderful family house. We had 1 child at the time. We were expecting our 2nd. We had room for the 3rd.
Right on.
Right. And it just like everything all worked out. And it was because like she just listened to that voice and she just knew.
Trust
She
and
knew it was the one,
intuition.
right?
Oh, yeah.
Trust
Meant
your
to
gut,
be.
for sure.
No doubt about it.
Amazing. Well, hey, this has been great. Thank you so much for being on the show. I have so many other questions to ask you, but I want to be respectful of your time and not go like, a 5-hour long podcast, which I think we could probably do with all the different stories here. But we'll have you back because I have like a lot more stuff to ask you. And thank you for being on the podcast and checking it out and sharing all your stories. And I'll make sure there's links to you and Project Censored and all the other stuff that you're up to.
Awesome.
I'll find your song and put a link to the Spotify on there so you can roll in some royalties there. Everyone got to go listen to that song, sing it to your kids. And we'll see you next time on By the Bay. Thanks for being here, Chris.
Fantastic. Thank you, Dan.
Stay up to date with Bay Area real estate. Hit subscribe now if you haven't already. Did you enjoy this episode? We love reviews in the Apple Podcasts app. We'll read yours on the show. This is By the Bay.